Now, the big story of the day, or I'd say of the week, or potentially of the year, to be honest, Hiero. We're going to have Richard Baird from Hashgraph, aka Swirlds Lab, stopping by in about 10 minutes here to talk about it with us and kind of help us understand how it changes the Hedera ecosystem, why it was brought about. But what I want to do is just quickly start off with this clip of Leemon. Now, this all went down at the Linux Foundation Open Source Summit. And the Linux Foundation is obviously massive. They manage all sorts of open source software. And essentially the broad stroke of this is Hedera has contributed all of the code for Hedera. As we know, Hedera was already open sourced, so it's not involving that at all. It's just moving it from just an open source project to taking that open source code and moving it to a foundation designed to kind of custody that and enable that further development. And, you know, that in itself can be definitely confusing to people. It's like, what does that mean for Hedera? What's going on? What is Hiero? What's going on with HBAR? Like, I think from a developer standpoint, it's pretty par for the course for a lot of things, but because this is Web3 and because this is Hedera, it's a little different. It's really a first, I think, in this industry. But let's watch this clip of Leemon talking about this, and then we'll go over a couple deets before having Richard Baird on. So, yeah, if you're watching, give a minute to share the show, and yeah, it should be a good conversation. But here's Leemon.
Here today. So we have the Linux Foundation, and within that there's LFDT, Linux Foundation Distributed Trust, Decentralized Trust, and then within that there is Hiero. The Hiero project, there we are. Hello future, hello Hiero future. The Hiero project is the contribution from Hedera of all of the code. So this is the first time that a public blockchain DLT has taken all of its code, its open source code, and put it in an independent organization. So of course we have representatives on it. You know, Hedera has joined LFDT, but it's independent. We don't control it. You can get involved. You can become a contributor and then a maintainer, and then you can become part of the leadership and you can help run it. This is independent. This is a big deal. We are the first public blockchain or DLT to do this. I don't think we're the last. I think everyone should be doing this. And so we are very happy to have this new Hiero project. And everything has been contributed. So it is the code for the mainnet validator nodes. It's the code for the mirror nodes that watch it and remember it. It's the code for the explorers that allow you to go back and see the whole history and do queries on it. It's the code for SDKs that help you to build on top of it. It's the code for all sorts of other tools.
Right? So that's really what this is about, is Hedera enabling, from a development standpoint, the actual growth of the network and removing, I think, a lot of barriers, right? I think that the development process for Hedera, the network, has been relatively closed, even though it's open source. The only ways to really affect the network are through the HIP process, but it's not so easy for somebody to just go and start adding stuff to the network. And we need that kind of layer of separation from the Hedera mainnet and the code base of what is this thing. And now this thing has become Hiero, and Hedera and the governing council use Hiero to, run the Hedera mainnet. And because we create that level of separation, I think it becomes easier and easier for people to build on Hedera, and it becomes easier for a lot of these different pieces of tooling and products to make it into the actual network itself, in a way that hopefully will be much more decentralized, right? Like Richard Baird, who's stopping by in a minute here, is on the technical steering committee for Hiero. And what I'll do is I'll just quickly pull up the Hiero website. So check this out. So this is the official announcement blog published by Charles Atkins, right, the president of Hedera. So the Hiero project, but this is the website for it. And obviously these different things talking about the features and benefits of Hiero, these are obviously the same things that we've seen for Hedera, and you kind of have to recontextualize it in your brain, right? Okay, Hedera is using Hiero, so obviously these same things apply. But more interestingly, you've got this technical steering committee, right? There's Richard Baird, Dr. Leemon, Baird, some folks from LimeChain, some folks from other organizations. But the idea here is that this technical steering committee, the management and maintenance and development of Hiero will be much more distributed and decentralized, and will be kind of outside of Hedera, right? Hedera, the public network, will use Hiero. So again, it's a little bit to kind of chew on. But I think that this is definitely going to be one of the biggest moments for this network for sure. And they've got a roadmap here. We're going to talk about this with Richard as well, for sure. But this is definitely a big step. Now, just to really clarify, it's not like this is another network. This is, again, just the code base rebranded in a way and migrated to the Linux Foundation's decentralized trust. That's basically what this is. And the other interesting thing here is these logos, right? So I shared this, but these are the folks involved with the decentralized trust. And this is the announcement from the Linux Foundation's decentralized trust. And the membership involved, right? We've got Accenture, we've got DTCC, Hedera, and Hitachi, already 4 names that we talk about extensively in this ecosystem, whether it's governing council members, possible use cases, or, in Accenture's case, a company that's investing in multiple different Hedera products. And then you've got other names attached to this Linux Foundation's decentralized trust initiative, right? We've got folks like Bank of America, Casper, Chainlink, Citibank. We've got Hashgraph, of course, aka Swirlds Labs, IO Builders, Oracle. Interestingly enough, Richard Baird was previously at Oracle. Fun little factoid. R3, Polygon, all that different kind of stuff. Validation Cloud. So we've got a few different Hedera projects, but then we also have, again, as really the cornerstone of this, we've got the key members and, of course, Hedera. And this really being kind of, as Leemon was saying, kind of a groundbreaking thing, with Hedera being the first kind of DLT to do something